Hello everybody, good morning. So today I am going to teach you something very interesting. So before I go ahead with the subject, let me wish you an advanced Bakrid. So let us know what we were been learning yesterday. Yesterday we were been learning about the importance of computers and what is a computer, if I'm not wrong. So I think everybody remember what I was telling actually about the computer. So today we are going to learn something new about the computers again. So today we are going to learn something new, that is characteristics of computer. So what are characteristics of computer? I just want to say yesterday we were been learning what is input, what is output, and what are the processing. So today we are going to learn something new about what is computer and what are the characteristics of computer. So this is a very interesting lesson. Hope you will enjoy the session. All right. So let us go with the PPT. So if you can see here, it's introduction to computers. Yesterday we were been introducing ourselves with what is computer and everything. So today we are going to go with the memory of the computer. So what is the memory of the computer? For example, I'll tell you something which is very interesting now. All right. So yesterday, if you can see, we were been telling about what do we have as an outputs and inputs. Yes. So outputs, when I say about the processing units, we have CPU in it. So we were been learning what is data and what kinds of data are there and everything we were been learning. But how do the computers store the data? As you know, every time the data should be stored. If not, how will we re-see it, or how will the computer save it? Because we are capable enough of storing our devices in our brain. But where will the computer save its memory? The computer is going to save its memory into two different kinds of things. And what is that? I'll tell you. All right. So let us go with the memory of the computer. If you can see here, the computer have two kinds of memories: primary memory, secondary memory. The first one is, in the primary memory, we have RAM, R-A-M, which can also be called as random access memory. And the second one is ROM, R-O-M, in primary memory. And what is ROM? It is read-only memory. So now I'll explain you about primary memory. Right? So first thing what we were been looking at is RAM. Why is this RAM important for the computer? Can anybody tell me? I'll tell you. All right? So RAM is nothing but it's a RAM where it is called as random access memory. So the RAM is installed in the mothership, where we will be putting it into it so that the speed of the computer increases, where the storage or anything can happen very quick in your computer. So this RAM is going to be used in a different kinds of thing to extend the development of your computer, to increase the speed of the computer, and to store the data very quick in your computer. So RAM is a very important thing that you have to remember, especially to develop your computer or upgrade your computer. RAM is very much required. So the second thing in the primary memory, if you can remember, that is ROM, that is ROM, that is read-only memory. And what is read-only memory? Read-only memory is something that it only reads the memory that you put into the storage. Am I very clear? So let us go for the second one, that is secondary memory. In the secondary memory, we have hard disk, CD, DVD. When I say CD, it is compact disc, and when I say DVD, it is digital video disc. So now let me explain you about the secondary memories that we were talking in the computer characteristics. So in the secondary memory, you should always remember that the primary memory is always used to take up the challenge. But in the secondary memory, we can store in a device. It can be any electronic device. And we can see here three devices, that is hard disk, CD, and DVD. Right? If you can see in the picture, we have a floppy 2, and we have CD, we have DVD, we also have hard disk. Along with that, we have RAM also shown in the picture. So now I'll tell you about the first one in the secondary memory, that is hard disk. What is a hard disk? A hard disk is a secondary memory which can store ample of data into it, which helps you in re-seeing it or reviewing it anytime you want by connecting to your computer. This is a very useful device where we can store more than GBs into your hard disk. For example, you were been taking some pictures in your 10th class and you have been growing and you are at engineering first year. What is a guarantee that the computer will be there with you till your engineering fourth year? But the storage will be there, isn't it? So now the storage can be stored in the hard disk for a long time. This always works for the storage, because hard disk is something where we have the space in GBs and TBs, that is gigabytes and terabytes. So you can store ample of data, lot of data into the hard disk so that you can review it anytime you want when it's necessary. Alright. So now let us go for the second thing, that is CD. What is CD? That is compact disc. I'll tell you about the CD also later on, and then the next one is DVD, which is also called as digital video disc. Now we were been talking about the characteristics of computer, where I have said you there are two kinds of storage devices. What is the first one? That is primary, and the second one is secondary. Right? So the primary memory is RAM, ROM, and when it comes to the secondary memory, we have three in it, that is hard disk, CD and DVD. So now let me go deep into explaining you about the memories of the computer. Let us see the PPT. So as I said you, the memory of the computer initially starts with RAM, which is also called as the primary memory. RAM stands for random access memory, which I already have said you. It is a place in a computer where the operating system, application programming and the data in current use are kept temporarily so that they can be accessed by the computer's processor. It is said to be versatile since its contents are accessible only as long as the computer is on. The contents of RAM are no more available once the computer is turned off. So I think everybody have understood what is RAM. I'll tell you in a neat definition. RAM is actually called as random access memory. It is a place in a computer where the operating system divides its calculation and share its calculation through RAM. That means the operating system have RAM as a main part of it. So now I'll tell you what do the RAM do actually. They can be accessed by the computer's processor. You know what RAM does? The RAM does it, it actually makes sure that the data whatever you have been kept in your computer, it tries to keep it safe, and it will also make sure you can use it anytime to view very quick. That is accessibility very good. So now I can tell you RAM is a main part in the operating system which helps you in understanding and reviewing your data anytime, any second. So this is RAM. If you can see the PPT, the RAM looks like the picture. I can see you here. So the small RAM which you can see towards your left side is the laptop RAM. And then you have different kinds of RAMs, where right now in the market we have DDR3 RAM available right now. Initially when the computers have come, we have DDR1, and then it was updated to DDR2, and we still have DDR3 as of now in the market. So there are three kinds of accessibilities for RAM, where we have the small one, the scaled one and the large one. So there are different kinds of RAMs, but the RAM is only used as an main operating system accessibility, which improves and develops your data to review and use it properly anytime, any second. Let us go for the second thing in the memory of the computer, that is ROM. What is ROM, or what it stands for? As if you can see, the memory of the computer have, in the primary, you have first RAM and the second one is ROM. As I said you, ROM stand for read only memory, is a special type of memory which can only be read and contents of which are not lost even when the computer is switched off. It typically contains manufacturer's instructions. Among other things, ROM also stores an initial program called the bootstrap loader, whose function is to start the operation of computer system once the power is turned on. So this ROM is especially something which is very important after RAM. What does this do? It actually, if you can see the PPT once, we have the first point called which can only be read and contents of which are not lost even when the computer is switched on. What does this mean exactly? I'll tell you. So ROM is especially an electronic device in the operating systems where it will make sure that some of the data which is involved into the computer system, even after you switch off the computer, it makes sure that the data is not lost. For example, an OS is installed in the computer where this boot step will make sure that it is not lost, or the updates are not lost in your computer. So ROM is a main thing that you have to remember, which makes your operating system and the CPU more stronger and upgraded, so that you can always review your storage anytime in an accessible point. And now let us see the second point. It typically contains manufacturer's instructions. Now I'll tell you. For example, you have been purchased a laptop. You have gone to a laptop center and you have bought a nice laptop. When you got a laptop, the basic thing that the system will consist of, or your computer consists of, is the instructions or the contents of what the computer is actually. So all that will be stored in your computer. For example, if you go inside and right click on your computer, you have properties and the details of the computer. So whenever you switch off your computer and switch on your computer, all the details of your computers can also be displayed in the in the computer. So how is that actually happening? That is happening through ROM, that is read only memory. All right. Now let us see the third point. Among other things, that is comparatively to RAM, ROM also stores an initial program called the bootstrap loader, whose function is to start the operation of computer system once the power is turned on. As I have already said you, the last thing the ROM does is it always have something called as bootstrap. Just note down it, because it is always an important thing that you have to remember. I'll just display the third point once again. Yes, ROM also stores an initial program called the bootstrap loader. Bootstrap loader is one of the most important thing that helps you in activating your operation system anytime you switch on your computer. So this is a very important thing, because without an operating system in your computer, you can't view anything in your computer, because operating system is one of the applications that is installed in your computer to view and to see anything in your computer. About operating system, we have a topic, we will be learning about it. So before learning about the operating system, what operates the operating system is what you have to learn, and that is ROM, which activates all this. All right. So now let us go for the next thing, that is hard disk, which we were talking about, the secondary storage, the secondary memory of the computer in the characteristics of computer. All right. So now if you can see, what is a hard disk? Hard disks are made up of rigid material and are usually a stack of metal disk sealed in a box. If I am not wrong, you can see here the picture where you can see it is being covered with one of the rigid material, that is a hard material, and are usually a stack of metal disk sealed in a box. Inside that we have a metal thing which can be used to protect the hard disk from not getting damaged. Remember guys, hard disk is a very delicate device which can be used. So always remember, it have to be used very carefully. You can't just carry it like a pen drive. But remember, hard disk is one of the greatest thing that has been invented by the in scientists. But you just have to remember that it is our responsibility to use the hard disk in a very nice way. So when I say in a nice way, if you can see here, hard disk usually is being covered with a silver material, if you can see, which is called as a rigid material, where you have some instructions given on it. Those are the information of the hard disk. So this is how it looks actually. So hard disk can be external and the hard disks are also internal. So the picture what you can see in the PPT is actually an internal hard disk. If you can view the external hard disk, it's not going to be like this. It is going to be covered with a raw material again, but it's going to be totally covered so that it will be safe from the damage. All right. So now let us see the second point in the memory of the computer. That is, the hard disk and the hard disk drive exist together as a unit, and it is a permanent part of the computer where data and programs are saved. Yes. Now if I have to tell you, if you can open your computer, when you go for My Computer and if you open it, you have local disk C, local disk E, and there are different kinds of partitions happening in your My Computer. All the storage partitions actually happen in your hard disk, and that is where you store your entire data, that is programs and applications and everything. All these can be saved in the hard disk in the partitions that you have done through the operating system. Right? Now let us see the third point. We have these disks have storage capacities ranging from 1 GB to 80 GB and also more. Hard disks are rewritable. If I can say you, there are few memories which are not rewritable. That means you can't erase something that is being stored in the device. But hard disk is really not like that. Hard disk is something where you can rewrite it anytime you want in your computer, because it is an internal device and it is rewritable, where you can erase your data and also re-save it in your computer. So all the characteristics of computer, or all the programs of your computer, all the data of your computer can be saved in the hard disk. So never forget that hard disk is one of the secondary devices, saving devices, which is a very major thing in the storage devices. Without a hard disk, you can't save anything in your computer. All right. So now let us go for the second thing. CD. If you can see, in the memory of the computer, we have the second thing as CD, where the CD is initially known as compact disk, is a portable disk having data storage capacity between 650 to 700 MB. It can hold large amount of information such as music, full motion videos and text, etc. CDs can be either read only or read write type. And now, what is this? I have said you the first point as compact disk is a portable disk having data storage capacity between 650 to 700 MB. So if you can see, if we go to a shop and if we ask for a CD, there is a round kind of thing which can be showed in the picture. I will show you in a picture. If you can see, there is a CD, the first display, it is a CD, where if you can see there, something which we always get when we purchase a movie, always I think you people are fond of watching movies. So when you go for the CD shop and when you ask for a film copy, they'll give it in a CD, isn't it? So when you take the CD and when you come home and put it in the DVD or the computer, you can save it in your computer, or you can directly read it. I mean, you can directly play the movie from the CD, but you can't rewrite it. That means you can't erase the data from the CD. So CDs are simply called as compact disks, where it can be capacity of 600 MB to 700 MB, and where you can store so many things called music, videos and n number of datas. But only remember guys, CDs are not rewritable. But yes, you can read and write, and that means you can simply play it or you can view it on your computer, putting it into the drive, and also you can save it in your computer, but not rewritable. Alright. So now let us see the picture once again. We have the drive where you put the CD into it. So we have platter, if you can see here, we have platter, we have copper wire, and we have actuator arm, which helps in viewing the CD and the information in it. This is how the machinery happens in the CD drive. So these are the most important things that you have to remember when the CD, or when somebody asks you about the CD, or when the CD plays. Alright. So this is the machinery which happens in the CD. And always remember guys, CDs are not rewritable. CDs are just to read or read and write. Right. So now I'll just want to show you this PPT once again. If you can see here, it can hold large amount of information such as music, full motion videos, and text, etc. CDs can be either read only or read write type, which you can view directly from the computer. So let us go for the second one. Oh, I'm sorry, third one. Yes, you can see in the memory of the computer, the third thing that we have is DVD, which we can also call as digital video disk. DVD is similar to a CD but has larger storage capacity and enormous clarity. Right. Now what does the first point mean? It is, yes, if you can see the picture once again, it's nothing but it's in blue color, isn't it? So it's not just the color change, as I said you. Yes, it is similar to CD, but always remember guys, DVD have more capacity than a CD. That is more than, we know that CD can consist of only 600 to 700 MB, but DVD can go to 2 GB to 4 GB or 8 GB or more than that. So DVDs are always better in storing the capacity, and as I have mentioned here, they have enormous clarity. You always go for a DVD, isn't it? Because we love looking good quality movies, or we love watching anything in a good clarity, isn't it? So that is when the DVDs are used. So now let's see the second point in the DVD, that is, depending upon the disk's type, it can store several gigabytes of data. DVDs are primarily used to store music or movies and can be played back on your television or the computer too. So now when I say about the second point, depending upon the disk, that means depending upon the DVD player, it can store several gigabytes. As I said you, depending upon the storage of the DVD, for example, when you go for a shop and ask for a DVD, the shopkeeper obviously is going to ask you how much storage capacity DVD do you want. So you should ask them, do you have 4 GB DVD? Yes, he will give you the 4 GB capacity DVD where you can store 4 GB of data into your DVD, and the data is, again, as I said you, images, text, videos and music, but in a good quality. Yes. So now let us see the second point once again. DVDs are primarily used to store music or movies and can be played back on your television or the computer too. Now I'll tell you the meaning of it. So as I said you, when you have took the DVD and when you have stored the DVD, the information into the DVD, obviously you want to look and review it, whatever you have stored in your DVD, isn't it? So here the advantage with DVD is you can quickly play into your televisions also and the computers also, because DVDs have a more capacity of reviewing it, or it is a very nice made machine, or it's a very nice made device that you can view it anywhere easily and viewable. All right. So now let us see the last point, which is very important. These are not rewritable. Yes, as I have said you, CDs are also not rewritable, and when I say DVDs, DVDs are also not rewritable. Yes, there are few questions for few people where they say, so we have seen so many DVDs and CDs which are rewritable. Yes, initially they have come after these, but when they have invented the CDs and DVDs, initial stage they were not rewritable. Now the machines and the devices are so upgraded that you can find the rewritable CDs and DVDs too. But nowadays nobody are using CDs and DVDs, if I am not wrong. Everybody uses a pen drive or a hard disk, if I am not wrong, isn't it? So yes. So now I just want to make sure you remember the points once again about the third primary device, or the third storage device I am talking about, that is DVD. If you can see the 3 points, just remember the full form of it, that is digital video disc. And the second thing that you just have to remember is it have huge ample of data that can be stored into it, and it is easy to view anywhere. And yes, the third point is it's not rewritable. And now these are the 3 secondary devices that we were been learning in the secondary memory of the characteristics of computer. In the characteristics of computer, the first thing is the primary storage, and the second thing is the secondary storage. In the primary storage, we were been talking about RAM and ROM, which are the internal storage devices which can actually use for controlling your operating system for the data, which can be viewed very fast and which keeps your data very safe without corrupting. And the second thing, the second primary use devices, when we comes to devices, we have 3 important things that we have to learn, and that is hard disk, the second thing is CD, and the third thing is DVD. So these are the 3 most important things that we have to remember, because the storage is going to happen in all the 3 things, right? So now let us go for the next slide. Yes, when I say the characteristics of computer, it means the characteristics of computers that have made them so powerful and universally useful. Now, let me understand what does this mean. Now if you can see anywhere, any home or any house have the computer in it, isn't it? So computer have become so famous nowadays that without a computer or a laptop in your house, you can't even work. So this have been very, very, very upgraded in every place of our India and the world. So just remember what made this computer, or what is that quality of the computers that made it amazing. So if I tell you what are your characteristics, can you just tell me? No. Or you can tell me, yes. The characteristics of a human being is looking smart, attitude, body language, and the pitch what you talk. So anything again, so if I have to say about my characteristics, I am loud, I am less, I am less expressive, and yes, I am less talkative too. So yes, these are my characteristics. Now if I ask you what are the characteristics of computer, I'll just tell you, don't worry about it. So if you can see what are the characteristics of computer, the first thing comes under the characteristics of computer is speed. The second one is accuracy. The third one is diligence. And the fourth one is versatility. The last one is storage capacity. Please note it down. I'll repeat once again. One of the most amazing characteristics of computers is speed, and then we have accuracy, and then diligence, and then we have versatility, and then we have storage capacity. Yes, so these are the most important things that you have to remember in the characteristics of computer. So now I'll explain you what is speed, what is accuracy, what is diligence, what is versatility, and the last one is storage capacity. So now let me explain you about the characteristics of computer in deep. So now let us go for speed. Yes, if you can see, to speak about the speed characteristics of computer, computers work at an incredible speed. A powerful computer is capable of performing about 3 to 4 million simple instructions per second. The speed of the computer is measured in milliseconds, microseconds, and nanoseconds. What does this mean? Now I'll tell you, I have just said you the speed, and I have just read out something. You're not able to understand? Now I'll explain you about it. So now when I say computers work at an incredible speed, computers obviously work at an incredible speed. If you can see at the previous stages, if you want to know about something, you just have to travel to that place, or either you just have to know about it through some other person, means of communications again. But computer is not like that. When you switch on the computer, when you go for an internet, type something, you immediately get an answer in a Google or any of the internet browsers. So why is it and how is it happening actually? It is just happening because we are upgraded and the systems are also updated. So though we are updating, the computers are also getting updated, So now I'll tell you the speed of the computer is only measured by the RAM and the internal devices and the external devices of the computer. When I say internal and external, again the RAM, the ROM, everything matters. So when I say all this, the speed of the computer also increases, isn't it? So when you update yourself, when you go for your computer parts update, obviously your computer becomes speed every new generation you upgrade to. So this is what I just want to tell you. But I'll tell you more about the speed of the characteristics. So when I say about the speed of the characteristics, I'll review the sentence once again. A powerful computer is capable of performing about 3 to 4 million simple instructions per second. The speed of the computer is measured in milliseconds, microseconds, and nanoseconds. So when I say this, I have said you, a powerful computer is capable of performing about 3 to 4 million simple instructions. For example, view. For example, see. For example, touch. For example, anything. So simple instructions, what we can do per second is only 1 or 2 hardly. But a computer can do 3 to 4 million simple instructions at a second. Can you imagine how fast it is? Yes. And now, the speed of the computer is measured in milliseconds, microseconds, nanoseconds. So though we calculate our time in hours, minutes, seconds, the computer calculates its time from seconds, milliseconds, microseconds, nanoseconds, which is so deep into seconds, isn't it? So it is very fast, remember that, right? So now let us go for the second thing, that is accuracy. In addition to being fast, computers are also accurate. Errors that may occur can almost always be attributed to human error, inaccurate data, poorly designed system, or faulty instructions, programs written by the programmer. And now, what is accuracy? For example, the right meaning of accuracy in the dictionary is a straight target, isn't it? How sharp are you, or how straight you are looking at, or accuracy means a simple straight thing. So now let me explain you what does accuracy actually mean in the characteristics of the computer. I just want to review the sentence. I want you guys to review the sentence once again. If you see accuracy, in addition to being fast, that is, yes, after the speed, after your computer being speed, computers are also accurate. That means you should give them the right command. Errors that may occur can almost always be attributed to human error, inaccurate data, poorly designed system, or faulty instructions and program written by the programmer. Guys, remember always, a machine is made by a human being, isn't it? So a machine will never make a mistakes because it is a machine. It is not a human being, right? It doesn't have feelings, it doesn't have anything. So you just always have to remember, any machine is accurate depending upon the person who uses that. That means somebody who is using the machine, when he commits or when she commits, that's when the computer is not accurate. that's when the errors happen. Yes, for example, when we do the mistake, people are there to say us that is a mistake. But in system or in your computer, when you do a mistake, it shows a simple error. That's what is a mistake according to the computer language, right? So now let us go for the third point, that is diligence. And what is diligence? Unlike human beings, computers are highly consistent. They do not suffer from human traits of boredom and tiredness, resulting in lack of concentration. Computers, therefore, are better than human beings in performing voluminous and repetitive jobs. That is, we always have this word called persistence. Yes, when you are so interested into painting, when I say you got a job as an artist, you will go and keep painting and painting and painting. You will never be tired. But at one point, you will get tired, because even though you love your job, at a particular point, you will get tired, isn't it? Yes, of course. But the computers are never like that. They are always working, because these machines are made by, again, human beings with a lot of effort put into it. Yes. So now when I say diligence, if you can see the point once again, as I have mentioned here, they do not suffer from human traits of boredom, tiredness, resulting in lack of concentration. I just want to tell you, yes, when I have said you speed accuracy, accuracy is also a kind of diligence where they never act bored, because machines are always active and they run through the power. As much as power you have at your place, as much as your machine works. So diligence is something where it's indirectly or directly mentioned as the work of your computer or the systems. The characteristics of computer is diligence, that means always active and always powerful. Yes. And now let us read the last point once again. Yes, computers are better than human beings in performing voluminous and repetitive jobs. What does this mean exactly? When I say the last point, you just have to mention that these are always active in doing all kind of voluminous job. For example, if you take human beings really can't do a lot of works at one time. They really can't do multitasking. But yes, computers can do lot of multitasking. Yes. So, and also repetitive jobs. If you can see, you can review a movie n number of times you want. You can watch a movie once, you can watch a movie twice, you can watch a movie thrice, you can watch a movie any time you want, n number of times. So that is what a computer can do. But if you ask the same question for a human being more than 3 times, obviously a human being will get into anger. Alright? So that is what you just have to remember. The third point, which is very important in the characteristics of computer, is it is diligence. And now let us go for the next point, that is versatility. What is versatility? Is always a question for everybody. So before I go ahead with the versatility, let us review what are the first 3 points that we have learned in the characteristics of computer. The first one was speed, the second one was accuracy, and the third one was diligence, isn't it? Now let us go for the last but one point, that is versatility. When I say that, I just want to mention that computers are versatile machines and they are capable of performing any task as long as it can be broken down into a series of logical steps. The presence of computers can be seen in almost every sphere: railway, air reservation, banks, hotels, weather forecasting, and many more. Right, now I say they are huge. They are very huge. Computers are very huge and the systems are very huge that they are being almost used everywhere. When I say versatile, it is huge. The meaning of it is ample. You know, I just want to tell you that anywhere you go, for example, when you go for a railway, obviously, you know, the time, the display, the time of your train arrival and the time of the departure, everything is displayed through a computer and its machinery. So this is where it's very versatile, because if I can see the three characteristics, the first three characters where I was talking about was speed, accuracy and elegance. Apart from these three, they are versatile. That is, they are very big, very big. Those are very big that everywhere and everywhere in the corners of our world, the systems are used. In fact, I can say they are terminators. Right. So now, if you can see, the presence of computers can be seen in almost every sphere, that means everywhere. In fact, railway, air reservation, banks, hotels, weather forecasting and many more. So when I say this, I just want you guys to remember that, you know, when you go for a hotel, how is your bill generated? Obviously through a computer, through a system. Yes, when you go for a bank, how is your passbook updated, or how is your bank account updated? Through a computer. That means system again. And when you get a weather forecast in the channel, for example, when you switch on the TV or television, when you watch the weather, how do you think the news channel people are going to forecast the weather? It is obviously through internet and your computer. So computers are versatile. Anywhere you see the sphere, that means the globe, anywhere you see in the world, you have the computers to work. Right? As I said they are terminators. Now let us see the last point, that is storage capacity. Storage capacity is the most important thing in the characteristics of computer. Today's computers can store large volumes of data. A piece of information once recorded or stored in the computer can never be forgotten and can be retrieved almost instantaneously. You know, what does this mean? I just want to tell you about this. For example, storage devices. Guys, I'll tell you something. You have gone to LKG to one of the schools. Do you remember the friends' names? Yes, some people, and some people don't remember, isn't it? So now I want to speak about the computer. Computer stores each and every milli data into it that you can instantly view any time. You know, that's what the capacity of the computer is, because the machines are made so accurately and so nice that you can easily, and you know, you can view it anytime you want. That is what the capacity of a computer is. So the last characteristics of the computer that you have to remember is storage capacity. It have got so good storage capacity that you can review years and years back memory which you have stored in your computer. Not only that, if you go for a Google, if you type Titanic, you'll get the original photo of the Titanic, isn't it? So where do we get all this? It's all through your system and the storage of the internet. It's all a very big rotationary and revolution that you have to remember, because machine have developed so big that you can review and store any kinds of data into your storage devices. So a computer's last character is storage. It can store any kind of data anywhere, and you can view it anytime without having any questions. So that is why I have said these are terminators. Right. So now let us review all the 5 points as I have said you. The first one, the first characteristic of computer is speed. The second is accuracy. The third is elegance. The fourth is versatility, and the last one is storage capacity. And I'll also say it once again, speed, that means they are very speed, and the max capacity and the minimum capacity or the max capacity of a computer is, it's performing about 3 to 4 million simple instructions per second. And when I say about accuracy, yes, until and unless a person who is using the computer commits a mistake, a computer will never commit a mistake. And then we have elegance, which indirectly or directly is said to be very much active. And then we have versatility, which we can also say it, the characteristics of computer. When I say versatility, it's very huge and it's been everywhere used. And when the last point comes, the storage capacity, it is the most important thing that you have to remember in the characteristics of computer. So we have learned some of the very most important things today, that is the primary and the secondary storages in your computer, and then we have been learning about the characteristics of computer. And yesterday we were been learning about what is a computer and what is it used for, or the importance of the computer. Those are again fundamentals of computers, isn't it? So today the most important thing that we have learned was the characteristics of computer. And what was the first one? The first one was speed. The second one is what? Accuracy. The third one is diligence. The fourth one is versatility, and the last one is storage. So these are the most 5 important things that you have to remember, especially when you grow, because when you keep growing you intend to forget the basics of computers. So please remember this every time whenever you switch on your computer, because without knowing about the computer we should never use a computer, isn't it? So yes. So when I show the PPT once again for you, we were been talking about first the memory of the computer, which we have the primary and the secondary memory. When I say primary memory, we have RAM and ROM, and when we have said about the secondary memory, we have hard disk, CD and DVD. Yes. And when I say you introduction to computer, what is a computer? A computer is an electronic device which can manipulate the instructions which is given to you and which displays as an output. So that is what a computer is. So yesterday's and today's lessons are being most important things that you always have to remember, because yesterday we were been learning about the importance of computer, and today we were been learning about the storages of the computer and the characteristics of a computer. So today's we are done with the class. Thank you so much for listening to the class, and I am Kranth. Thank you. All right.